Hey everyone, Mike Satel here, and in this video, I'm going to speed run the easy modules from the PSAT NIM Squat practice test number 2. I know that's a mouthful, but basically it's a way for me to see how fast I can get through the easy modules that I've never seen before, because when I took the test for the first time, I was put in the hard module. Naturally, this is what I do. I should be in the hard module, but it's great to see the easy module, and I'm going to start by showing you how to get to it. Because for a lot of you who have used all of the SAT or PSAT practice tests, it might make sense to go and do these modules. Yes, the questions will be easier, but it's still another basically like 50 questions. So it can't hurt to do. So if you're looking for more practice, you can find some pretty easily. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to go to full length practice test on the Blue Book app. We're going to select, in this case, we're going to select PSAT related assessments, but you could do the exact same thing for all the SATs. I'm going to choose the PSAT NIM Squat. This is the one I already took, and it's a little bit harder, much more realistic compared to an SAT. And I'm going to do test 2 because I've never seen these questions before. And my goal is to try to do it as fast as possible. So we're just going to start the test. It's going to do all this. I'm going to move my stuff around so I can see my screen. And what this is going to do is right away put me into the first module, which I've already seen. So I already know the answers to all these questions. I've already done them. So if you've taken this practice test, you would have seen them too. No matter what happens in the practice test, everyone's getting the exact same first module. So what you do is you go to the review page with all these blanks and you just leave them blank. And you go to the next module, because what happens is you just got them all wrong. So now the SAT thinks you're an idiot, and you're going to go to the easy module. And let's just get started. Wow, it started really quick. So we're going to go as fast as we can. As using the text, what does the word mingled most nearly mean? Now love and April and gold of your hair are all mingled together, all combined together. Yes. What does the word invent most nearly mean? Sarah not only could tell stories, but she adored telling them. When she sat or stood in the midst of a circle and began to invent wonderful things, create. Her green eyes grew. Okay. Yeah, it seems that way. So let's do that. Which choice completes the text in the most logical and precise word or phrase? Shoppers can help keep money cycling within a community by making purchases at a small local business instead of large retailers. Some cities are blank. Programs to encourage this behavior are instituting, establishing reward points and other incentives. Yep, that seems right. Which choice best completes the text with the most profitable? Okay. With these things have been growing wild rice in the Great Lakes region of North America for centuries, but climatic changes are causing lakes to get deeper, thereby threatening wild rice. These plants are extremely sensitive to water depth. And if it was too deep, yeah, they can get bad. Okay, so yeah, sensitive. Okay, underline portion. Ordinary soap bubbles usually exist for a minute or less before popping due to either a rupture forced by gravity-induced drainage or the evaporation of the liquid from which the bubble is composed. But physicists, and colleagues discovered ways to mitigate these factors, resulting in bubbles that can last for a year or more. For example, glycerol tends to adhere to water molecules, so a bubble with a shell that contains both water and glycerol is able to draw additional water molecules from the surrounding air and thereby compensate for evaporation. So it's explaining something. Describes the effects of a process devised by researchers that increases. Okay, seems right. It details the circumstances that prompted the research. No. It presents a reason why the phenomenon discussed in the text of the researchers wanted to avoid. Well, inevitably, no. It mentions a method discussed in the text that researchers intend to test. No, I think they've already done it. So I think that's A. Underline portion. Generally, it takes tule geese about 4 days to migrate south for the winter. From the summer breeding grounds in Cook Inlet, birds begin to fly over the Gulf of Alaska, keeping about 100 miles from the Canadian shore. They pause to rest in the Pacific Ocean, then fly towards Summer Lake, Oregon. They go there. It goes geese over twice as long to make their way from this to this. Airborne pollutants. Okay. It illustrates a change in the behavior. No, I don't think it's a change. It's just what they do. It suggests an explanation. No, it doesn't. It describes part of the tools. Yeah. Okay. It compares tule geese to other birds. No, it doesn't. So there you go. What would be the most likely consequence if New had not begun using sewing machines? When fashion designer Lloyd Henry New opened a store, he quickly became known for creating delicately crafted leather goods like belts and hats. He was perhaps most renowned for his colorful handbags, which he made by using a long and painstaking process. As he gained more customers, New began using sewing machines and other tools to help him produce bags more efficiently. So that he continued to handcraft the crucial details that made each bag unique. So which would have been the most likely consequence if he had not begun using sewing machines? He wouldn't have been as efficient. He would have been unable to ensure that each bag included a unique. No. He would have struggled to meet the increasing. Probably. He would have had to individually design each bag. No. He would not have been able to generate as much interest. Not about the interest. Yeah, it's about efficiency. What does the narrator do as she walks across the stage? One day, the jazz band was invited to perform at the summer festival. Walking across the stage to the piano, I did what my teacher had advised. Pretend you're only playing for one person. That way, you won't be so nervous. I glanced at my father, who sat in the front row, leaning his head just so, waiting. Then I closed my eyes. So she's playing for her dad. Okay. She thinks about the difference between playing the piano. No, she doesn't really. I feel like that's a trap. She feels excitement about playing. No, she's nervous. She remembers how hard she has practiced. No, she follows her teacher's advice. Yes. Differed from a rancher sings. Okay. Became an unlikely star in ranchera. Most of ranchera sings had clear, polished voices and performed with the full band, but Vargas accompanied her raspy voice with just her guitar. So raspy guitar. Dressed in men's trousers and ponchos, she would perform classic songs that had been written from a male point of view and were usually sung by men. She also altered those songs by performing them much more slowly than other ranchera singers did. Well, there's a lot of differences. The slower tempo allowed her to express the emotional quality. Okay. What is one way? She possessed a voice that was clear and polished. No, she didn't. She avoided singing songs written from a male. No, she didn't. She disliked performing. No. She altered classic songs slowing them down. Yes, it said that. See, it's so much about memory here. Happy House is a 1920 novel by Jane Abbott. The narrator presents a young woman as being unimpressed with the house she is visiting. So unimpressed. Her first feeling was of disappointment in the square lines of the house. Yeah, there's a little clan. It sounds like being unimpressed. Someone had opened one of the blinds. No. The door built square in the middle of the house, opened almost directly upon a stone flagged path that led in the straight lines. No. She tiptoed. No. It's definitely that. Okay. So these are easy when it's just the easy module. The employer of citrus grower, the employee wishes to know how much a grower could have expected to receive on average for a box of lemons in July 2021. So July 2021 is here. Lemons is 31.78. Boom. If true, support. Okay. Okra sea stars live in tidal pools along the shoreline of the Pacific Ocean. At night, they move to higher shore levels in search of prey, but scientists Corey Garza and Carlos Robles notice that okra sea stars stayed at lower levels at night after heavy rains. Garza and Robles hypothesized that a layer of fresh water formed by rainfall was a barrier to the sea stars. To test their hypothesis, the scientists did an experiment. They placed some sea stars in a climbable tank of seawater and other sea stars in a similar tank of seawater with a layer of fresh water on top. Then the scientists watched the sea stars' behavior at night. So their hypothesis is that fresh water is a barrier. Yeah, so fresh water is a barrier. So what would support that? None of the sea stars climbed to the top of the tanks, but sea stars in their tank with only seawater moved around the bottom of the tank more. No, they need to get out. Sea stars in the tank with only seawater climbed to the top of the tank, but sea stars in the other tank stopped climbing. Yeah, that would be it. Both groups of sea stars climbed to the tops of the tank, but sea stars in the tank with only seawater climbed more slowly. No. Sea stars in the tank with only seawater mostly stayed near the bottom of the tank. The sea stars in the other. No. It's got to be this. The fresh water slows them down. Fresh water slows them down. Yes. Barrier. Okay. Completes. Main goal of the association for these things in art is to advance new works by Black musicians. Achieves this goal in part by focusing on young artists. By having established musicians and composers serve as mentors, this thing gives young artists the benefit of expert technical training. I feel like I've seen this question. Numerous organizations offer similar kinds of support to new generations of painters, writers. Yeah. Okay. Artists of all ages benefit more from technical training. No, it's not It's not a comparison. Many arts organizations recognize the importance of providing artists. Yes. Most established artists could become even better artists by certain. No. Finding a mentor is more important for musicians than it is. No, it's not the comparison. So yeah, I think I've seen this question before. Completes the text. Silicon-based photovoltaic cells account for 95% of the cells used in solar panels worldwide, despite converting an average of only 18 to 22% of the sunlight that reaches them. So despite. In a study addressing the relative inefficiency, a team led by this person demonstrated the addition of a thin layer of the mineral perovskite, which captures the blue range of light in the solar spectrum, whereas silicon captures the red range, allows the cells to convert 25% or 29.5% or more of the sun's energy into usable electricity. Cells made with only this thing, however, are no more efficient than silicon-based ones. Okay, so we need them both, right? The addition of this thing is good, is what I'm getting. Right, so that mixing them is good. Photovoltaic cells with both silicon and are more efficient because they make use of them. Okay, probably. The cells with only this thing and no silicon would likely convert. No, they said that's worse. Solar power will remain elusive. No. So researchers need to evaluate whether the other minerals are as effective. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but that's not what the point of the passage is. It's about them mixing together, right? So with both these things, because they can do more light. Thank God, grammar. Okay, how we doing? I think we're in 8 minutes about. In 1953, a Fellows performer tripped on a legendary the trumpet, bending its upward bell. When tested the damaged instrument, he realized that he preferred the sound of a bent bell over that of a straight one. Yeah, there's no reason for any punctuation, and these two would be wrong anyway. Okay, this is the 2 and ing rule. While it was under Bass's leadership, the Eagle was became one of the U.S.'s most influential. Will become, no, it's in the past. Is becoming, to become. No, it's that. Past tense. Okay. It's almost certainly this, but let's make sure. As a result, the country's name is pronounced. Okay, yes. It's almost certainly this. This is singulars and plurals. The sculpture stands in a tree-lined plaza in Chicago. Have been, are standing. We're standing. Yeah, it's one sculpture. Yeah, easy. Okay, short story, Rogue Enchantments by Isabel Ibanez appears in Reclaim the Stars, an anthology of fantasy and science fiction written by authors. Okay, so it's an appositive. There we go. We just need a comma. This is about, looks like apostrophes. Austen's most famous novels means Austen is going to need one, so that's good. And her name is Austen, not plural Austen, right? Yep, okay. So does the novels need it? In fact, scholars believe that a passage from the last chapter of Cecilia likely inspired the title of one of Austen's most famous novels. Yeah, no needed for an apostrophe there. Okay, it's about sentence structure. Roughly 300 nights a year, when the cold air descending from the Andes Mountains meets the warm air rising from Venezuela's coastal lake, the result is a spectacular lightning storm. It strikes so bright, so localized, and so dependable that it has become known as Arecibo's Lighthouse. Okay, it's not this. It's not this. I guess it would be this. Why would we need a comma? This is the only one I think I might get wrong so far, and so dependable. Yeah, it's a list, but we don't need to have a list when we get to the comma there. That doesn't get commas. Okay, let's look at this. Paleontologists once thought that early apes lived in tropical rainforests, but recent research suggests that they may have actually lived in savannas. Tropical rainforests are humid and have many trees spaced close together. Savannas are drier. It's like a however. In comparison, savannas are drier and their trees are spaced further apart. So no, and no. It's about it. It's comparing them. Yes. Okay. When sculptor whatever was designing the Statue of Liberty, he sought the advice of engineer Gustav Eiffel. Eiffel suggested that he make the statue's arm thick and position it straight above the figure's head. Bartholdi decided to slim the arm and tilt it out. Okay, so it's a however instead. Yeah, it's a but. In 1942, this highway was constructed in under 9 months, largely due to the skilled work of nearly 4,000 African-American soldiers from U.S. Army engineering regiments. The soldiers' contribution was overlooked for decades. In 2017, lawmakers declared this a day for the troops. Okay. Then, it's not lastly, similarly, for example. Yeah, it's just time passing. I feel like I've seen this question too. Okay. The student wants to use a quotation to explain what the sculpture represents. Gurgis, whose work includes a sculpture that is large, has explained that she wants her work, this doesn't seem like a quotation, to create a dialogue with audiences. It's also not what it represents, I guess. Inspired by the sistrum played by Egyptian priestesses, here I have returned. It symbolizes women who have lifted and supported Egyptian society and culture. According to, okay, that seems like a quote, and it says what it represents. According to the curved of stirrup wood, blah, 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 was inspired by the sistrum. Yeah, it's not a quote. And wants her works to engage audiences in a dialogue. Yeah, but that's not about what it represents. Symbolizes is what we want. So that's that. A student wants to emphasize the historical significance of Stephen Amos's enlistment date. So why is the enlistment date significant? Both this person and this person were U.S. Navy sailors, but Amos enlisted in the Navy 2 years later. Okay, but that's not why it's significant. This person was a U.S. Navy Filipino sailor who was born. Nope, not significant, not even the date. Stephen Amos enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1863, making him one of the few sailors of Filipino descent to serve in the U.S. Civil War. Okay, that means maybe significant. When Stephen Amos enlisted in the U.S. Navy in November 1860, he joined sailors such as this person who had been born in the Philippines. Yeah, it's not saying why it's significant. It's C. And the student wants to contrast how green backgrounds are used in U.S. and U.K. road signs. Which choice most effectively uses relevant information from the notes? Okay. The student wants to contrast how green backgrounds are used in U.S. and U.K. Blue backgrounds are generally used on directional highway signs in the U.K. in contrast to the green highways. I mean, it's not saying green in the UK, though. In the US, green signs indicate directional information, but in the UK, directional signs of this color generally appear only in major roadways. Okay. Green road signs are used both to denote directional information on major roadways. Well, that sounds like not a contrast. It sounds like a comparison. These things use directional signs. Doesn't say green. So I think it's that. And I think we're done, right? So what are we at? 1941. So that would be, let's just round to 20 minutes, would be about 12 and change. So the goal is that I got everything right. So we'll see if that's right. But 12 minutes out of 32 to get through this module, I say is pretty good. I'm going to pause the video here before I move on to the math section, and we'll do that as a speed run as well. Notice I didn't use any scratch paper here. It was all in my head. Hopefully that you got something out of that, because I didn't give you basically any explanations whatsoever. I just kind of dove right in. As soon as that thing started, I wanted to get the best time possible. So we'll call it at like 12 minutes and, I don't know, 20 seconds, whatever it was. But yeah, let's take a break here, and then we'll do the math. Okay, so I've ended the reading module. Of course, it's going to give you a break, but I am interested in being as fast as possible, so I'm going to resume the testing. And again, it's putting me in the first math module. I've seen all these questions before. I've done this. The first time I did this test, I was placed in the hard module, and so I saw these the first time because everyone's first module is the same. But I'm going to do the same thing I did in the reading. In order to see more questions, you just go to the review page for the first module, and everything is blank, meaning I'm going to get everything wrong. And then as soon as I hit this next button, basically, it's going to start the second module, and we'll have 35 minutes, and we're going to see how fast I can get through those 22. I do think that there's going to be 2 questions in here that might be ones I've already seen before, but we'll see. There were on the reading. I wasn't sure if there would be, but yeah. So let's just get to it. And here we go. We got Desmos ready if we need it. All right. Moment of suspense. Okay, here we go. How many of these containers of walnuts contain exactly 78? So that would be 7. Okay. There are 120 marbles in a container. Of these, 10% are red. How many marbles in a container are red? 32. A mechanical device in a workshop produces items at a constant rate of 60 items per hour. At this rate, how many items will the mechanical device produce in 3 hours? 3 times 60 is 180, right? 3, 6, okay. The graph linear function f shows what is the y-intercept. It's 2, so 0, 2. What is the positive solution? So it would be 3. 3 plus 45, yep. See, no calculator. The line graph shows the probability of snow. Okay, according to the line graph, for which day during this 4-day period is the probability of snow 30%? So 30% is Thursday. See how easy the easy module is for math? It's really noticeable. What is the solution? That is -2, 6. You're just looking at graphs. The solution of this is, okay, what is the value of y? So y equals 5 minus 4, which is 1. Geologist needs to collect at least 67 stamps of lava. The geologist already collected 63. Oh, this was in the hard module, 63 stamps. What is the minimum number of additional stamps? So it's 4. No wonder I thought this question was so easy the first time I did it. I was like, why is this here? It's just the double question. What is the value of y? So 40, right? We're halfway through the section. We've only read graphs so far. What is the value of this solution? Okay, so here, let's see how fast we can do it with Desmos. 8x minus 7x. Oh, I thought it was a y situation. That was dumb, but it's okay. I'm already committed to this. And so we get whatever that is, 130. Okay, cool. Did I type it right? Yeah. I thought it was, I don't know why I thought it was xy. What is the x-coordinate of the x-intercept of the graph shown? It is 6. The contract for a certain service requires a one-time activation of $35 and a monthly cost of $23. Which equation represents this situation? Okay, one-time activation is plus 35, so not this, and then 23 is the slope, so it would just be C. What is the value of f is 7? So 21 minus 8 is the same as 20 minus 7 is 13. Okay. Yes. If W is 136, what is the value of C? It is also 136 vertical angles. The area of a rectangle is 37 square inches. The length of the longest side of the rectangle is 19. What is the length of the shortest side? So that is 57 divided by 19. Area's length times width is 3. Cool. Which expression is equivalent to that? Let's just distribute. So 19x squared. Okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be 133, but let's just make sure. 19 times 7 is 133. Okay. What is the value of f of 0? It's negative 152. Solution, what is the value of xy? So x is 3, so 15 minus 3 is 12. 12 squared is 144. So we have 144 times 3 is 432. See, this is I don't even need to do this. I can just look at the choices. This is also from the hard module. Is 5 greater than the second? So the first time I did this, I guessed and checked. This time, I guess I'll do the algebra. So we have x, and the first integer is 5 greater than twice the second. So 2x plus 5 is equal to 462. So let's just now go to Desmos with that. I think this is the right equation. Might be the one I get wrong just because I might be doing it wrong. I did guess and check last time. So this says 14. So what is the smaller? So 14 is the smaller. And then 14 times 28 plus 5. 28 plus 5 is 33. And that's 462. Good. Satisfied. Okay. All right. So 17. Okay. So we're just splitting this. So that's x minus 10y and x plus 10y. There we go. Just difference of 2 squares, right? Yes. Okay, how many solutions does this have? It looks like it's going to be the same slope. If we multiplied by 2, we would have different, I think it's going to be 0. But we can easily test this. Negative 12x plus 14y equals 36. So right now I am sacrificing time for accuracy because I could just be done right now and be happy. But nope, there it is, 0 solutions. So that's that. So that took me, it took me less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes. I mean, you can see, hopefully I got everything right here, but hopefully, it's easy to make a mistake. Like I'm moving that fast. I didn't really think to check anything. I was just kind of going as fast as I could. But wow, 5 minutes for 22 questions I'm impressed with myself there. So let's see before I talk a big game, and then we'll talk about this and see what we get. Let's score it and we'll go from there. All right, so here we are. These are my scores. Obviously, they are terrible. I got the first module completely wrong, but you can see even here that I got everything right in those easy modules, right? So I got 27 out of 54 wrong, meaning that's half. So half of them right, 27, 22 correct answers. That's all of the easy math module, and we can confirm that just by going here. Right here, we see I omitted everything from those first modules, so all wrong there. And then here is where the second reading module starts, and we get all correct there. And then the omitted questions here, and the actual ones I did, the easy module here. So everything's right. So yeah, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. I think there's a couple things that you can take away from this. Remember, the reading one still took me a good amount of time, right? 12 minutes. That's still fast, right? We had 32, but we're rounding it to 12 minutes. That's roughly a third of what the section is. And it just goes to show that in reading, there is a certain amount of time that is just not negotiable. You kind of have to read those passages, which eats up time. There's not much you can do about that. And so that's why I find the hard reading module always kind of difficult to finish. Is there's just certain amount of time you can't avoid spending. And then the process of actually solving the question takes time too. So the math, on the other hand, right? This took me 5 minutes to do 22 questions. And yes, I had seen 2 of them before, but I didn't know the answers. So I had to kind of redo them. But still, I didn't think it would take me that little amount of time. It just goes to show how much of that reading of that easy math module is just knowing the XY plane, knowing basic algebra, going to Desmos. Even sometimes I went to Desmos, I realized as I was typing, I was like, oh, I didn't have to do this. So that the easy math module is very, very easy. Maybe you get some hard question here. This one, if you kind of think about it, doing it the more algebraic way, if you multiply by 2, you'll realize you have the same equation. And even though the end number is 36, it's negative 36. So that would, in the long run, mean a different y-intercept. And that would mean that these are going to not intersect. They're going to have 0 solutions. So, that's hard. It's a hard concept, but you will see something like that in the hard module too. Usually, this is reading. Usually you get something in the hard math module, something in the easy math module that I would consider hard. Something that would challenge you, that would make you think. I do not feel like I got that here. I wonder if it's because it's the PSAT. I wonder if they're just making the easy modules even easier. I don't really know. But I still think it was worthwhile to kind of just test my skills and see a bunch of different new questions. And, if you are not someone who is as good at the SAT as I am, or maybe some of your friends are who brag about their scores, I don't want you to feel bad because of how quick I was able to go through these things. I don't think you need to be a 5-minute math test taker here, but I do think that you really can tell whether or not you understand a lot of the fundamentals for both sections by how quickly you can make it through those easy modules and how accurate you can be. So for students who are always getting in the hard module, these easy modules might also be a good way to self-evaluate and be like, okay, am I making careless mistakes, right? I mean, look at how fast I'm moving. I didn't get anything wrong. you kind of want to be that good at certain things, at reading XY graphs and you working with equations. You want to be confident enough that you're not going to make a mistake when there is an intense time pressure. So try to speed run it. See, if anyone else does it and beats my time, I'd be curious. Put it in the comments. And I will try to do this for any new practice tests that are released. But it is a great way to just see some extra questions. I do think that easy reading modules certainly gave me a lot of questions that could have appeared in a hard module, could have appeared in module number 1. So it was good to kind of be able to work with those passages, think about trap answers and things like that. But they were definitely more straightforward than a lot of the hard module passages, and the vocab was certainly much easier. But with grammar, you don't want to get any of that wrong. So I did learn a lot about this, and I will make videos eventually for all of these questions individually. So if anything that I did was just way too fast, that's okay. I will have a more detailed explanation to come. So just make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you never miss that stuff. I will have videos for every single question on this entire PSAT, including the first module, including the hard module. But if you want to see me do it when it's really tough, go watch the walkthrough video that I've already done of this test in the first and hard modules for both. I did get a perfect score. I got one wrong, but I did get a perfect score. Thank you so much for watching this. Hope it was helpful. If you have any comments, please put them. If you just like the video, like, subscribe. I'm Mike Satel, founder of Satel Tutoring. And as always, when it comes to your scores, don't settle for less, Satel for more. Thanks so much.